ready for this. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It really is.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you again.
I'm sure you will. She's so sweet. Girl is open your job. What? Dana, you're so vulgar. She was like checking you out. I order from them all the time. That's probably why. But she is the only one who ever delivers me food. I'm sure it's no.
Scene 4 unfolds the quietly charged meditation on creativity, proximity, and the slow awakening of self-recognition between women, framing what could have been a sensational premise instead the thoughtful exploration of how inspiration often arrives through human presence rather than abstract discipline, and how lesbian and queer women's desire is frequently mediated through socially legible roles such as mentorship, operation, artistic affirmation, or professional evolution. The scene is used Tanya as a leader and mentor, emotionally depleted by expectations and deadlines, who will seek to something else mentors for order, attitude, and productivity, values that emerge broader and place on them to be composed, efficient, and quietly grateful for access to opportunity. Her narration emphasizes routine, isolation, and self-management. Coffee, writing, phone calls, controlled meals, suggesting a life structured around restraint and responsibility rather than emotional expansiveness. Into this carefully regulated space enters Ela, her boss's daughter, whose arrival is framed initially as disruption rather than invitation, not because she is inherently antagonistic, but because she embodies unpredictability, youth, and embodied presence in a world Tanya has attempted to reduce to text and control. The early tension between is not merely interpersonal but symbolic, representing the collision between a woman who has learned to survive by minimizing herself and a younger woman who refuses, or perhaps has not yet learned, to contain her impact on the world around her. From a queer analytical perspective, this dynamic immediately resonates with a familiar pattern in lesbian and queer women's lives, where attraction often first appears as irritation, fascination, or moral judgment, especially when becomes the site of Tanya's renewed creative her way of inhabiting the world. When Tanya expresses admiration, it carries the weight of both artistic validation and personal awakening, illustrating how queer women often experience desire through layered channels that remain socially acceptable while still carrying profound emotional charge. The scene's emphasis on tone, atmosphere, and pacing reinforces this reading, as the film lingers on pauses, glances, and the subtle recalibration of boundaries rather than explicit action, inviting viewers to inhabit the emotional texture of the encounter rather than its mechanics. This restraint is particularly significant given the cultural tendency to sensationalize or trivialize relationships between women, especially when age or power differences are present. By foregrounding Tanya's self-awareness and hesitation, the narrative acknowledges the ethical complexity of such dynamics without collapsing into moral tension. Instead, portraying a woman's for lesbian control can also become a weakness for self-discovery when it is difficult. The film's refusal to remove this encounter into a simple moment and ordinary exposure further enhances its sensuality experience, recognizing that self-recognition is often ongoing and unresolved rather than reaching conclusions. For women more broadly, the theme speaks to the exhaustion of living according to externally imposed scripts and the quiet yearning for experiences that feel authentic, enlivening, and fulfilling. Tanya's initial desire for solitude can be read as burnout rather than effort, a response to a life organized around meeting others' expectations and a sense of personal fulfillment. He looks forward to suggesting this pattern not by offering escape, but by demanding connection, reminding Tanya of her capacity for feeling and responsiveness. This dynamic reflects the broader social reality in which women are encouraged to be self-sufficient and emotionally contained, often at the cost of intimacy and joy, and where encounters that reawaken desire can feel both exhilarating and destabilizing. The film's sensitivity to this tension allows it to speak across sexual orientations, even as it remains grounded in a lesbian queer framework that recognizes the specific pressures faced by women who love women. The discomfort society exhibits toward women's love for one another is woven throughout the scene, not through overt conflict, but through the very necessity of restraint and coded expression. Tanya's careful narration, her emphasis on circumstance and accident, reflects the way queer women often feel compelled to contextualize or rationalize their feelings in order to make them palatable, both to others and to themselves. By contrast, the film's visual and emotional language affirms the legitimacy of these feelings without demanding justification, offering viewers a model of queer storytelling that values interiority over explanation. The age difference and professional connection between Tanya and Kayla are not ignored, but they are treated as elements that require mindfulness rather than as sources of inherent scandal, aligning with a clear ethical framework that prioritizes consent, self-reflection, and mutual recognition. This approach challenges dominant narratives that either flatten such dynamics into exploitation or romanticize them without accountability, instead presenting a nuanced portrait of two women navigating attraction within real constraints. The scene's conclusion, which emphasizes the continuation of Tanya's creative and emotional process rather than a definitive outcome, reinforces the idea that visibility and self-acceptance are incremental, often beginning with moments of recognition and moments of declaration. In this way, the film contributes to illuminating a women-centered story that honors the quiet resilience of relationships between women, insisting that romantic lies not make the capacity to offer truth, fear, and connection, but essentially emotional intimacy and self-awareness. Scene 4 resists both erasure and sensationalization,